I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. We're not gonna do this whole episode like this. But welcome back to Talk That Talk. Happy 4th of July. As you can see, this is America's hat. This is America's shirt. And this is America's ass. No. Today we're going over A Quiet Place. I'm joined none other than the all-American American. We're gonna go over Quiet Place Day One. Directed by Michael Sarnowski. He formerly directed in 2021 the movie The Pig. And stars are Lupita Nyong'o, sorry if I butcher that, Joseph Quinn, Alex Wolff, and Jaimin Hanzo. So, without further ado, Adriel, what were your favorite things about this movie?
I felt like this movie was a really strong entry into the A Quiet Place franchise. I
Mhm.
felt like this is something that even like during like the promotional stuff when everything was coming out, I didn't really have much. I really didn't know what to expect. I guess I should say, like, because the other two movies, I didn't know too much about them other than they're being directed by the guy from The Office. I was like, okay, John Krasinski. Okay, he's gonna try to direct. Okay, cool. And then he's also starring in it. All right. And then when that movie came out, I was like, yo, this movie was really good. He did an amazing job with it. His wife obviously was really good in there as well.
Mhm.
But that whole family unit was good. I guess in the trailers, that I guess that was day 400 and 70 something or whatever. So now
Yeah.
jump to day one. I think initially what they did in the beginning, like opening credit roll, I guess, which I think they tried to do it, but I think they kind of got away from it. Was they kind of opened up with that New York stays at 90 decibels, which is a consistent scream, and then
Yeah.
it kind of gets quiet, and then it rolls into the movie. I
Yeah.
felt like there was a lot of things that got brought up in some scenes that you kind of noticed that how loud certain footsteps are, or how loud it was when was Eric, I think it's his character's name, when he's climbing up that little metal thing to get the cat, like his how each step on each little bolt is like actually like a really loud. So I really wish that they would have played on that more, but I felt like a lot of that was really good. The characters in these ones with Lupita and Joseph Quinn, I felt like they both were really good. And
Yeah.
this one, I don't know. I felt like this was a strong movie. I thought a lot of there was a lot of tension in a lot of the scenes. Obviously, sound plays a big character in these movies, and I thought
Yeah.
they played it really well with a lot of from the beginning, them not really knowing what it was, and then you can just tell. Like one big thing that I kind of thought about as a whole, or humans as a whole, was everything we do was loud. Like anytime we're going to emergencies, the ambulance or firefighters or the police cars, the sirens super loud.
Yeah.
Radios on the army or the cop, whoever it was that had the radio, was real loud, attracting all these
Mhm.
things. And then even when they're kind of, I think there was like two or three times when there was helicopters or something flying over, kind of giving like a message kind of to like the crowd that was in New York. The helicopters, everything is just super loud. I don't know if it just maybe that's something that they played on more so because
Yeah.
they wanted to have that stark contrast, but everything that we do as a human society is just loud in general. So it's crazy when you see when you get put up against an opponent that can only has like supersonic hearing, or their hearing is
Yeah.
what is above all. We're kind of really no match. And then even when we're kind of making our way and they're making their way down to the dock, and everyone is trying to get there, people just gather up as a crowd, and then wheelchairs are loud, people that are stepping are loud, and
Yeah.
people that are having their luggage is loud. So like even when they're trying to be quiet, they're still loud. So I don't know. I felt like that whole character arc of it was really good. The cinematography was really good. I felt like the way it was shot was really good.
Yeah.
Even like there's sometimes when you can kind of get a sense when actors aren't really acting with like a CGI monster or whatever, that you can just tell if there's some things that are off. But
Yeah.
I felt like when they were going through that one building, when they kind of get stuck in that turnstile and those monsters start
Yeah.
crashing down, you
Yeah.
can tell like both of them had a really good sense of like presence, and or
Yeah.
maybe even just like the director or the cinematographer was able to direct them really well of like, okay, this is when it hits, and like you see them like kind of like lunge forward or whatever the case is. So I thought the acting was really well. The new characters they introduced were really good. There was one thing that I probably get to later in my cons that I felt like they made it too, the part that happens at the end, I felt like they made it too noticeable in the beginning when they introduced Lupita's character. But
Yeah.
other than that, I felt like all in all, I felt like this movie was just solid all the way through. I don't think there was ever a point in time where I was like, "Oh man, this movie's dragging on." Obviously, I want to let you get to your piece. So I don't want to ramble on, but yeah, I felt like this movie was a really, really strong introduction to, like, I guess, the beginning part of this world.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Only an hour and 40 minutes, so it didn't really drag on. And what I liked, it didn't really rely. Obviously, it's a prequel. It didn't really rely all the knowledge that we got from the future films. I like to play on the water being a good consolation, using the rain, using the water fountain. But my biggest thing was the character development. Like in every movie, if I could find like the main character's character development as well as side characters' character development, it goes a long way. So you have Lupita's character. Uh, they right off the bat establish her as someone that's dying of cancer, someone that just already hates life. But it's not just the cancer that's like making her hate this life. It's the fact that her dad's no longer with her, and like she misses like just being at a jazz club and eating pizza with her dad. She misses that aspect of her life, and she's a poet and she writes about all this stuff. And then we're introduced to Joseph's character, like I want to say in the second act of the movie, and he's more of this guy who's like scared and he's just like following this cat like in this all this chaos. He's like, all right, cat, I'm gonna follow you, and then I'm gonna follow this person. And then when she ditches him, like that little scene where he's like, hey, like, I'm like, dude, I would be so annoyed by that person that just following me through all this, because in this situation, if my nieces and my sister were around, yeah, I help them. But if I'm in New York or I'm in the city and I don't have no one around me that I care about, I'm going solo on this shit. I'm not risking someone making a noise and something that, and I'm definitely not following a cat because I don't know about you, but cats outside my house, my apartments, always making noises.
Yeah, I hate
This
cats, bro. I hate cats.
this I we have a cat now. We left out water because it's hot in the summer, and it's a neighborhood cat, but we're just being nice about it. But besides the point, like I've never met a cat with this much expertise. It's a service cat nonetheless, but it's just with being quiet, being I thought the cat was gonna step on the piano at points. The only mess up this cat messed up on was accidentally hitting like a jingle ball. But any other cat, I feel, would have hit that jingle ball, they would have been like, "Hey, what was that noise? Hey, you make noise? You make noise?" Like, and I thought that was gonna be what the cat was gonna do. No, it was just a little, "Oh, I bumped into this, and I'm gonna act like I didn't bump into this thing that most cats would be attracted to." Again, it's a service cat, but nonetheless, super cat in the building, as well as the monsters themselves, the panic. I want to highlight the sounds of New York. Like it becomes a white noise. Like even me and you when we met in the warehouse, that noise, the everything that's going on around us becomes a white noise, and we don't really pay attention to it of how much noise you hear. But there's times where like it's at the end of the shift, where I'm actually like just, hey, this the conveyor's down, like or the mech line's down that we used to work in, and I'm like, hey, this warehouse is pretty loud. Like when you find into the noises. So I've actually visited New York like a handful of times, like 5 times, and it's loud, dude. Like when you actually listen to what's going on, we were in a big group, and I was so scared to get lost just because there was so much going on, and I could see how that plays a role, like with these, like you said, these monsters that are sensitive hearing, daredevil type of monsters that are going around whooping ass and taking them out. It just shows how much like we need to pay attention. And as soon as like you saw like certain people walking towards the docks and all that stuff, I was like, oh, this crowd's gonna get too big, or someone's gonna cough, or like something's gonna happen. And sure enough, like I saw more and more. I was like, yo, this is gonna be a dope scene. This is gonna be the scene that we see in the trailers. Because like when I first saw the movie, I was like we mentioned before we started, like did they just like Infinity War us and like didn't show us the actual scenes that happened in the movie? And then it was just a little out of order, guys. Like you're gonna feel that. Uh, but yeah, all these groups are walking. You hear the wheelchairs making too much noise, and then the monsters then again attack. And with that attack, the first couple, it starts panic. People start screaming, and at this point, I would hope people would know, don't make a noise. Like as soon as the monsters attack, just be quiet about it. But then you have people saying, "Oh, where's my husband, Jonathan? This, and that," screaming, and I'm like, I get it. It's a scary situation. I don't know what I would do in that situation, but I know if I had the logic behind surviving the first wave of that, all right, I'm not making a noise. Even if like, and as soon as I saw a big crowd going down towards the docks, I would have assumed, nah, Because sure enough, these boats are gonna make noises. The freaking helicopter was gonna make noises, and it's gonna draw these creatures to us. And I'm not about that. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm claustrophobic, so I hate big crowds like that. So you never see me at like big raves or concerts in the crowd section. I'm VIP, you know. And then the one last thing I want to piggyback on is just the CGI of the monsters and just the implementation of them. Shout out to his Stranger Things training because I feel like Joseph did really well with those bat types of things from Stranger Things. So it kind of like played. You could see it like his training with CGI monsters and effects coming after him. It was on full effect. Same thing with Lupita. That scene was really good. And then there's a thing I'm gonna talk about in our cons, but I feel like this movie was excelled by itself. It didn't need the other two films to carry itself. Like if I watched this movie without John Krasinski's amazing works, he did amazing on the first two films. I would have appreciated this movie nonetheless, regardless. So
So one more thing before we hop into the cons, I'm glad you kind of brought it up right now with the CGI. Man, like I said, you kind of hit the nail on the head with it. I felt like I don't have the exact numbers, but maybe the budget for this was bigger. But I feel like they displayed the monsters so well. Like they actually
mhm.
showed them, and not just like one or two, and like from a far distance where they're kind of grainy and blurry in the background. Like
Yeah,
no, they were there in your face. Like there was one scene where Joseph gets stuck on the beam getting the cat. And he accidentally makes a noise, and the monster opens up his head, and like it goes to his like its ear, I guess. Oh man, like the detail in that is just amazing. Even just like the effect that it had when the monster like when it was chasing them, I guess then down the subway line that got flooded, and
yeah,
like went in from the top into the water, and then the fact like you were able to like still, even though it was dark, clearly see like the figure of the monster. It wasn't just like this black orb that kind of was chasing them, or this black
yeah,
whatever that was in the water, but so I felt like the CGI team on this, the visual effects department on this movie, really just knocked it out of the park.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
Again, just to give kudos to them as well. But I felt like kind of going back on what you said real quick too, kind of putting myself in the situation of the big crowd. I felt like when Lupita dropped off the two little kids to the big crowd, I
Yeah,
felt like if it was me in that situation, because I was playing it like in my head, that I was like, well, maybe I should walk them to the dock, but not do it with the crowd. Maybe do like one or two streets over to where I
yeah,
can still see them. But just in case something like that ends up happening later where we get attacked, I'm not in the middle of all of it. So I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool. It was like a really like you said, it was kind of just it's really cool to kind of put yourself in those situations and be like, oh man, like what would I have done there or whatever. But that's
yeah. But if you would
fun
have
to have
took
those
him to
on.
the docks, you wouldn't have gotten your pizza, bro. So
True. Yeah. So that's the different part.
priorities,
Yeah.
priorities.
Yeah.
And then more PC version of it. Forget them kids. I'm gonna go get pizza.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty
uh,
much what she was thinking.
is that all you have for the pros for the most
Yeah,
part?
that's all I was gonna add
Let,
on.
let me just throw in one thing because you mentioned the water. I like that fact that they showed why the water is the weakness. It seems like these guys just get crippled inside the water. Like I'm assuming the water gets into their ear holes, their whole anatomy, and then they're just screwed. Like they
Just down.
drown quick. They drown quicker than
Yeah.
us. Like So yeah, that was a definitely a pro. But yeah, without further ado, let's move on quietly to the cons.
So for me, all around, I think this movie was really good. I only had a couple, two, maybe three
Yeah.
cons. The first one, kind of like what I hinted at earlier, was at least to me. I don't know if it's because I've watched a lot of movies, but I felt like as soon as they introduced the character, and I guess it's kind of my fault for watching like all the trailers, but
Mm,
I was like, oh man, so they're introducing her with cancer. She's already kind of like the last time I went to New York was supposed to be my last time, so
mm,
this one's probably gonna be my last time in New York. Then thinking about the trailers, I was like, how much they really put Joseph like in, like he was kind of like in the forefront with her.
mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, she's gonna sacrifice herself for him, isn't she? So I felt like 2 or 3 minutes into the movie, I was like, she's gonna let herself die so he can live. And she didn't necessarily die in that scene that she sacrificed himself or herself for him, but it was all the same, right? I was just like, and then when that scene started to play and she grabbed that the crowbar or whatever, I was like, oh, here it is. Like she was about to do it. She was about to sacrifice herself, and he's gonna get away, get on the boat, and that's that. And sure enough, yeah, like she went, smashed all the windows. It was still a good scene, but like I said, I just didn't like how I was able to call that like 2 minutes, 3 minutes into the like meeting her. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that kind of sucks. And then the only other con, like maybe it's nitpicking. I don't know. Maybe because it's day one and they're not as refined as they are in like the John Krasinski movies. But I felt like with Quiet Place One, A Quiet Place Two, and then the first two acts of this movie, I felt like the monsters were like anytime anything made a noise, they attacked like that. They were on it, they were going, and they were going to go around until they find out what made that noise. So I
Yeah.
thought it was just a little. Again, he's one of the stars of the movie, so I guess I kind of get it. But in that same scene where he's on that beam trying to get the cat, he makes that noise, and the monster pops up right next to him. And instead of attacking like they normally do, they show the ear, and I guess that was their moment to display the functionality of the monster, and what
Yeah.
exactly is going on and how good their hearing is and everything.
Yeah.
But in that time I was just like, okay, one, that monster didn't attack like all the other monsters did throughout the whole other movie and the whole other two movies, so you're
Yeah.
really kind of going against continuity there. But then two, again, maybe this is a weakness that they were trying to also display in the movie, but how is it that that monster was able to hear everything but not hear his heartbeat that's right next to him? To me that would have thrown it off, and like I said, that he should have died. I feel like he should have died, and to me, and that's why I freaking hate cats. Where like I just hate cats. I despise cats, and this movie was like, this is why I don't like him. Obviously, I mean, granted, he did decide to follow it and to meet Lupita, and then ultimately ended up saving his life, but
Yeah.
it almost cost him his life, and when in the big part of the movie. So I don't know. I feel like those are two cons. Other than that, like I said, the runtime is really good. I feel like it's really good to rewatch. I think honestly, I'm just kind of nitpicking with those two things. So I think those are the only two things I really got. What cons do you have?
Yeah, so mine are very similar to yours. It's less about like the movie quality. It's more about how I thought the story was gonna go. So let's tackle that ending to start off. Uh, I thought she was gonna sacrifice herself like the same way you did, like right after like meeting her. Oh, she already has that death coming to her, so she has
Mhm.
no reason to really try to fight for a living and all that stuff. What I thought they were gonna do was similar to the first movie, her sacrifice herself because he just taught her how to live again, and her screaming like I wanted him to get caught up by the monsters, and I wanted her to like scream loud as hell like they did during the thunderstorm, and sacrificing herself and ultimately dying. And what I thought she was gonna do was kind of like in Guardians of the Galaxy, put the iPod with all that stuff and the note in the pocket of the jacket that she gave him.
Mm.
And I felt like that would have been clean. Like, hey, this is the music I listen to or something, and then, or it's her dad's music, all that stuff. Take care of that. That letter was great, but I just thought she was gonna give him the iPod to show him, hey, this is how my dad sounded, and that's what she was always listening to. That's the route I thought she was going. And similarly to what you said about the creature's continuity about their hearing, the creatures like hop on and they're like super fast. Like literally
Oh,
in the opening scene when the helicopter's going by saying stay inside, it's not safe. You see these dudes booking it.
yeah.
I'm not doubting Lupita's speed, but she had hurt her leg. She's a cancer in like stage 4, and she's hitting these things with a crowbar, and she's not going zigzag. No, she's just going in a straight line. Mm, mm, mm.
I think
I
for
would.
that though, I think they're just kind of pointing out that they're more attracted to the noise as opposed to what's causing the noise. They're just the siren is there, so they're attacking. I think that has the siren on it.
Okay, okay, but I respect that, but also the fact that homeboy with the generator ripped his shirt. The monster didn't kill him until like 4 or 5 seconds after he ripped his shirt. That's where I was like, this is where you're losing me. And on the same beam location, even in the water and everything, every single character breathes loud as hell in this movie.
Yeah, I was
I
about to say, yeah.
was, I was like, even I can hear you, and I'm not even looking at the movie or half the time. I'm like, bro, if I heard you, I'd be like covering your mouth. And then I guess like the third thing I would have an issue with was just this is more of the marketing thing. Um, I thought what's his name, Jaimin Hanzu, was gonna have a bigger role in this movie. But basically, if you saw the trailer, you saw his what he did at the entire movie. That scene where he unalives the guy and makes him quiet, um, was like I thought that was gonna be like a pivotal role in his character arc, and I was like, all right, he's gonna be like, I just killed someone, or I killed a human, or like have that struggle or something, or even sacrifice himself to save his son or do something, you know. But literally, he was just a nice guy in the movie, and I was like, nice guys finish last or normally get killed off in the movies, but no, bro made it through the whole movie with the
Yeah.
scenes that he had, and I was like, homie is a backup character in this, like
I felt
hardcore,
like a lot of he had a lot of other scenes that maybe got cut out because I
maybe.
felt like even when they showed the boat and he was the one that yelled for it to stop, I was like,
Hmm.
oh, he's still alive. Like I was
Yeah.
kind of surprised by it, you know. Like I just thought that was the end of it when she left them. I was like, okay, he was in it. They did that. He helped save them by killing that dude, and that's that. But when he was
Yeah.
on the boat, I was like, something has to be missing because why is he still alive? Like that doesn't make sense. But it is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, so that was my other con. I thought it was a waste of him. And then also Wolf was in this film and I don't remember him being in any trailers.
Or any type of
Um
marketing.
yeah. And I was like, okay, just throw in a character and he takes the puppeteer's job of turning off the generator and he's the guy that gets caught his shirt caught up and I'm like, this this character, like you already knew something was gonna happen since the get-go, but it was just like, okay, this is like Slipknot from Suicide Squad. Like they just
Yeah,
threw
he
him
was
in
just there
there,
to die.
and you knew he was gonna die. The impact of her saying, "Hey, you're not my friend, you're a nurse." I was like, damn,
Yeah,
that.
that was like
But yeah, it was just the marketing aspects. Good film, but yeah, little continuity errors, and then um my curse of wanting a movie to end a certain way compared to the way it ends. You know.
yeah.
With that being said, do you have any more cons?
I don't really have anything else.
Okay, let's go ahead and what's your final take on the movie and what's your ranking?
Man, like I said, I think this was a solid entry into the film franchise. It was really good. I think this has. I'm not sure if they've announced anything for it yet or not, but I feel like this has the potential to maybe spin off a trilogy of its own that leads up to the original, The Quiet Place. So I felt like it
Yeah,
was very strong. I felt like Joseph Quinn did exactly what I wanted him to do in this movie. He
yeah,
kind of just built off, Stranger Things. So Stranger Things, felt like this was a strong showing for him in here. So now that makes me even more excited for to see him in the Fantastic Four, which I think is
obviously.
due to like start filming later this year or even early next year. So should be getting that in a year or two or so. But so I think he's doing an amazing job. Lupita obviously did it really well. Again, the storyline I thought was good. Even I guess this is something I probably should have mentioned maybe during like the pros. I felt like the through line of the story of her wanting to go get pizza could have like ended so bad and could have been like a stupid reason for her to want to get there. But as soon
Yeah,
as like she started diving into her background, of like, oh no, her dad used to play at this this bar, and then after all his shows, we would go to that specific place to get that slice of pizza.
yeah,
So it had like really good value to it, where it could have just been like, nah, this is someplace I used to go to, so I really just want. I know I'm dying. I want to get it before I'm dead. It had like way more significant value to it, so I think that added to it for the
yeah,
story. Overall, I think I'm gonna give this movie probably like a 7.8, 7.5 to 7.8. I think it was really good. The length of it, I think, really capitalized on it. There wasn't any like wasted time with it. It kind of just kept going and going, and it was a good movie overall. So, about like 7.8 for me.
yeah. Just piggyback on that final take. Uh, I like character development, obviously, but I like that they didn't give us like that whole reason why she wanted to go pizza off the bat. I like the
Mhm.
buildup of the trust and the chemistry of the characters. That cat, I mean, brought these people closer together than everything, right?
Yeah,
But it was just like you saw that there was a disconnect. She didn't want to help this guy out, and that chemistry built up all the way into the end where she explains like why she wanted to go get pizza. And then what he did was like something I would do, like, hey, I got some pizza, and this I'm
yeah,
saying this is the place that you wanted. So that whole scene of the heartwarming thing, you obviously saw that was going to lead to something, and then the exchange of the hoodie, you know, in most like cinematography is like when the main character gives something to another side character, it most likely means that main character is going to sacrifice them, especially if it's something that's been protecting that character the whole time. It's like a handing of the torch type of thing. And not
Yeah,
only did she hand it that, she gave him the cat. And then I was
yeah,
like, this cat has been saving your life, putting it at risk, but saving your life the whole movie, and you're just giving it away, and it's gonna end up saving him. So I thought that was a good little metaphor. I thought that was mainly what the cat was for, the
yeah.
transition of the safety of the story. Like you said, I think this could potentially be more movies down the line, and I wouldn't hate like a TV series, like a streaming service type of thing. Kind of like Fear of the Walking Dead. Like if as long as they keep true to the CGI, I feel like fans will watch this show and then just have like different aspects of monsters and all that stuff. Dive deeper into that realm. Um, but yeah, for me, I'm gonna be honest, dude. Like I didn't think it was possible this year, and I didn't think we were gonna get there until probably Deadpool movie, but I give this movie an 8. Like the
Okay, so
rewatch,
tied with
the
King Kong,
it
huh?
tied with King Kong, Godzilla X Kong. It was really good. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I want to go watch it again. Sadly, I have homework. It's it's gonna it's gonna be one of those movies like that. I'm like, hey, this is a new trilogy that is our part of our generation.
Yeah,
Yeah, Lord of the Rings and like Harry Potter and all that stuff, but like now we have our very set in stone like trilogies in our generation, and they're mainly like thrillers and horrors. Like we have like the Get Out universe, and now we have the Quiet Place universe, and I'm really excited. I was kind of confused when I heard John Krasinski wasn't doing this. I was like, dude, you did so well with the other two. Like, why
yeah,
wouldn't you want to do this?
yeah. At least be
And
like a producer.
yeah, and then the director of this one did an amazing job. I was like, yo, that doesn't happen normally, like when you have the first two films made by somebody and now you're tasked with making the third film, that's a dangerous ploy, or
Yeah,
maybe John Krasinski just took the notes of like many other directors. Don't make a trilogy. Don't make that third one. The third one's always going to be the one that bites you and everyone hates it and they expect too much out of you, right?
yeah,
So yeah, 8. Surprisingly, I know. I was gonna. I just washed my Godzilla X Kong shirt, so I was like, was it that good? Like I don't know if I could put it up there, and it might just be it's fresh on my dome, and I just like the whole three movies, and I can't separate them. But I would say that these three movies, hot take alert. These three movies might arguably be a better connection and better world building than all the MonsterVerse movies.
no, I probably agree.
MonsterVerse MonsterVerse is still good. I'm not saying that they're not good, but I
Yeah,
think these three movies establish this Quiet Place universe better than MonsterVerse established MonsterVerse universe.
yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it was close
Um,
for me too. I was debating.
no, you're high, and then I was like, do I meet him? I was like, nah, I'm gonna give it an 8. Like this is 4th of July. This is my independence,
Fireworks,
and
huh?
it's like Will Smith didn't die for me to agree with the norm. He died for me to be independent. Right. And it's so with that being said, anything else you want to close
One
out
last
with?
thing, I kind of hesitant to kind of say this because I do want people to go out there and watch this movie, and I wanted to make all the money as possible, but
Yeah.
also want to kind of highlight how stupid Paramount is being with this movie. Apparently, it just came out last weekend. It's already going to be out on streaming on Paramount Plus on the 27th or 26th of this month. So the third week of this month, July, in the 20s, is going to go straight to streaming. So Paramount's kind of shooting themselves in the foot. So if you're on the fence of maybe wanting to go watch it, not wanting to go watch it, it's going to be out on streaming in like a couple weeks. So maybe just wait. But again, if not, go watch it in the movies. It is loud. It's perfect for a movie theater experience. It's great. I want this movie to make money because it was good. But at the same time, I want to highlight how stupid Paramount is being because they're shooting themselves in the foot. This movie made nearly $60 million this past weekend of it coming out, and they're like, "Hey, it's doing great, but which is if you're thinking about going, just wait. It'll be there in the end of this month." So there's that.
Don't watch it at home. Let's Paramount shoot themselves in the foot. Go watch it at the theaters. And if you watch it at theaters, I guarantee they're gonna extend the theater date. Even now we have like movies going back into the theater because they wanna keep the money going because they could still make money off of it. Uh, I was surprised they didn't do like a Quiet Place like revamps like to rewatch them.
Hmm.
But it's obviously because it's a prequel, but I feel like that would have like generated money watching the original Quiet Places at the theaters. But that's just me. Like I said, I don't make the big bucks for a reason, but watch it in theaters. I'm telling you, this is the
Yeah,
movie you want to go watch in theaters by yourself with somebody, maybe on 4th of July, maybe not, you know. Imagine if they would have invaded during 4th of July.
that would have been smart marketing right there.
I would have just been with a Roman candle and running. All right, with that being said, guys, let us know what you guys want us to review. If you have any questions that you guys want us to answer, talk that talk. Let's talk about it. Even if you guys just want to see me and Adro do some weird movie stuff, you know, make a movie. Whoa, pause. But let's go ahead and get out of here. Happy 4th of July. Everyone stay safe. Thanks for all the love and support. Peace.